The girl was swinging from a branch on the big pine tree. His pine tree. Upside down, arms flopping and flapping against pine needles on the branch below, she was singing quietly. "Hey!" Marty called out. "Who are you?" She swung off the branch, bounced onto the lowest tree limb, and leapt onto the needled floor of the forest. "Who's asking?" She stuck her hands on her hips and her chin in the air. "Marty," he said, "and that's my tree." "Don't be stupid, it's anyone's tree." "Is not. I'm the one's climbed the highest, so it's my tree." "Well, Marty, you just get used to calling it Nikki's tree, 'cause I'm going to get to the top." She stomped off up the track. He watched her go, and then leapt up to the first branch to make the climb. "No girl's beating me," he muttered, and that time he climbed higher than he ever had before. He was above the level of the other trees and could see across the nearby rooftops to the street. The girl, Nikki, was walking along the footpath, and he saw her turn into the garden of a house that had recently been sold. Marty sighed. Oh no. It looked like she was his new neighbour. She'd be going to his school. She'd be his competition. He sat up in the branches until the wind came up, making the tree sway. He felt sick with the movement, so he marked the tree with his secret sign and climbed down. That night his mum landed a bombshell. "We're going to stay with Nan and Koro at the beach for the rest of the holidays. Won't that be great?" No way! Now he couldn't practice climbing his tree. That new girl, Nikki, might get further than him. Life was unfair. Marty was not happy for the next 10 days. At school, on the first day of term, Marty walked into his new classroom. Nikki was not only in his class, she also knew all the gang. The whisper went around. "Be at the tree, 4:30, pass it on." Nikki was smiling all day. He saw her at lunchtime playing netball. She was good. He watched her in gym class, leaping the box and swinging on the parallel bars. She was really good. He watched her sprint home after school, her bag flying on her back. She was fast. Marty nearly didn't go to the tree at 4:30. By the time he arrived, everyone was gathered around, chanting as Nikki climbed past the halfway point. "Nikki, Nikki, Nikki." He stood at the edge of the clearing, away from everyone else. He watched as she passed his favourite branch. He watched as she passed his highest marker. He watched as she reached the very highest branches. A cheer went up from below. Then he watched as she broke a twig off the top branches and threw it to the ground. An even greater cheer went up. Marty turned and walked up the track as Nikki started to climb down. He couldn't stay around to watch. A crack, a scream, and a collective "oh" made him stop. A brittle branch had snapped. She was hanging by her hands with nothing near her feet. It was at the point that Marty had feared the most, and the main reason he'd never reached the top. Marty raced back to the tree, stripping off his jacket as he ran. Everyone cleared out of his way. He threw his jacket to the ground, grabbed the first branch and swung himself onto it. Then, faster than he had ever climbed before, he went up the tree. Hand over hand, feet sure and true, he was below Nikki in no time. She was whimpering quietly. Marty saw in her face the effort that she was making to hold on to the branch. "Hey, don't let go now. Be strong." She didn't reply. Marty settled himself firmly onto a branch below her and found a handhold on his left. Reaching his right hand up, he grabbed her right foot. "Okay, now you can't see it, but just above your left foot is a small knot on the tree. Can you move your foot up to it?" She moved her foot away from him and searched around for the knot. She moaned when she couldn't find it. "Up a bit to your left, just a bit more. That's it. Can you feel it?" Nikki nodded. "Okay, rest on that for a moment and keep your other foot in my hand. Then, when you're ready, take one hand off the branch and wrap your arm around the tree trunk." She nodded again and slowly opened her hand. Her weight immediately transferred itself to Marty's arm. He gritted his teeth, screwed up his face, and clung to the tree as his arm muscles burned from the strain. She clung to the tree, and then the pain in Marty's arm lessened. "Right, now do the same with the other arm, and I'll guide your foot to the next branch down here by me. Got that?" "Yes," she croaked. She gradually lowered herself to his level, and then wrapped her arms around the tree beside him, shaking. Below them, way down on the ground, the gang shouted and yelled. Nikki gave him a weak smile. "Thanks. That's okay. I can make it down now. Let's go real slow." At long last they reached the ground where Nikki collapsed. The gang was still whooping and yelling and banged Marty on his back. Nikki looked up at Marty. "I still beat you." He smiled. "Yes, you did. This is definitely Nikki's tree." "Okay." She stood up and wiped her hands on her pants. "That's tree climbing out of the way. What else are you good at?"